Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. George Cohn here from the Lest We Forget World War II Museum in Louisville, Texas. I'm here to highlight an American veteran from the Texas 36th Infantry Division this evening. I'd like to talk about Julian Quarles, who was a first lieutenant in the 143rd Infantry Regiment, Texas 36th Infantry Division. I met Julian at a reunion here locally in Dallas, and he was a very charming gentleman, Southern gentleman, Virginian. Told me that his uncles were officers in the Confederacy and that he had their swords. He also told me that he had never been to Texas and he need not go because he knew everything about Texas, because the time that he spent in the Texas 36th Infantry Division, the Texans had told him everything there was to know about Texas. So Julian and I got along quite well, and I'm going to recant a little bit of his story. So he was in the 143rd Infantry Regiment at Salerno, and I believe it was on the 12th of September 43, he was ordered to go with his battalion to the western flank of the invasion to meet up with the British, to bolster the western flank. And he talked about a forced march that they did at night. And I can recall he mentioned a water buffalo attacking them. And he said it was vicious, and he ordered one of his riflemen to shoot it. It was interesting the way he said, I ordered one of my riflemen. I've never thought about having riflemen, but apparently if you're a first lieutenant, you do. They get on to the left flank, which is by the Saley River, or the Saley Corridor of the Salerno invasion. They have been sent in as a battalion to bolster an area that was wiped out that had an American regiment in it the day before, a regiment of the 45th Infantry Division. So they're basically one-third the size of the outfit that they're going to replace that was wiped out. So doesn't sound good. He mentioned that they got there very early morning. It was just the dawn was beginning to crack, and they were digging in. He said when all of a sudden they started receiving fire from in front of them, from behind them, and from the side. He said they were being encircled. I can remember Julian saying that there were 3 Germans that came running around a bush in front of him, and he shot 3 rounds with his M1 carbine, and he dropped all 3 Germans. He said then the man to the right of him was killed, the man to the left of him was killed. He said it was a fierce firefight when all of a sudden a German tank pulled up behind him. He said at that point he threw his carbine down and stood up and raised his hands. He said once he surrendered, a very large German sergeant came and got him in his face and had an American 45 that he was pointing in Julian's face. He was going to shoot Julian, and he kept pointing back over at those 3 Germans that Julian had shot. Apparently those 3 men were in that sergeant's squad, and he was upset at losing them. And he was blaming Julian for it. So some American officer said, no, he interrupted, and he said it wasn't Julian, it was that American machine gun nest over here, which had been knocked out, so the guys were dead. He said it was those guys that shot him. And so the German sergeant left Julian alone.